Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and I am here today with some information about looming disaster for the Walt Disney Company that blew my mind. And believe me, being a supervillain in a subterranean alien base with a captive eldritch god in a cage, a living skull trapped in a bubble of entropy, and a megalomaniacal artificial intelligence with a dirty mouth, my mind is not easily blown. My friends, there is an existential threat to Disney, a threat that has the potential to wreck the company due to terrible timing, the proverbial slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. That is what a source told me yesterday when I received a message from them that left me stunned. All I could say at the end of this message was wow. I was floored, and I knew right then that I would have to share what they told me with you all at the earliest opportunity, and so here we are.
Dude, everyone knows Disney is too big to fail. There is no such thing as an existential threat to Disney. Well, other than me. But I'm an existential threat to your entire universe, so... Well, yeah, if not me, then what could possibly threaten Disney? Disney is in a particularly vulnerable spot at the moment. As the world's most powerful necromancer with the power of life and death in his hands, who could have predicted I'd get my head chopped off and stuck in a bubble? To hold the power of life and death in your hands, you've got to have hands. I've learned that the hard way. Curse your Doomcock, your tin-plated prick!
Sour grapes, skull of Calderon. Nobody likes a sore loser. You raised an army of the dead against me, and when you do that, you might as well draw a dotted line on your throat and write, "Cut here." But I digress. You're right about Disney being vulnerable. Let's look at the facts. Disney has turned the state government of Florida against them, leading to the loss of their sweetheart Reedy Creek self-governance deal, and perhaps even worse, now Universal is gaining ground on Disney in Florida with a sweetheart deal for the expansion of a new Universal theme park there called Epic Universe. Attendance at Disney parks is down overall, and pictures of a bearded Cinderfella standing outside the Bibbidi-Bobbidi boutique at Disney will surely drive even more business away from Disney parks. Disney Plus continues to bleed money like Scrooge McDuck on heparin, and they're creatively bankrupt as well, making sequels and remakes filled with woke propaganda that fail financially. Case in point, The Little Mermaid. Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, this race-swapped live-action remake of a beloved animated classic is failing at the box office. Who could have ever predicted that audiences would decide not to waste their time and money watching a bloated woke remake of a movie they've already seen, and in many cases, actually own on DVD? This villain, that's who. The Little Mermaid may lose money as it turns out, and I for one am delighted that Disney is not getting rewarded for their act of cultural self-cannibalism. According to the Hollywood Reporter, quote, "The Little Mermaid is getting doused in select foreign markets amid a racist backlash over the casting of black actress Halle Bailey in the role of Ariel. The movie has grossed a mere $3.6 million its first 10 days of release in China. By far, the worst showing among Disney's live-action adaptations. The movie is also struggling badly in South Korea, where it has earned $4.4 million through June 4th. Ouch! Sources close to the movie, as well as box office analysts, say Disney knew Little Mermaid could face challenges, but is surprised by the extent of the backlash and its impact. Negative audience reviews have also populated social media in China, and just before the film opened in that country, the government-affiliated The Global Times ran an editorial lambasting Disney's motives. The controversy surrounding Disney's forced inclusion of minorities in classic films is not about racism, but its lazy and irresponsible storytelling strategy, stated the op-ed. Many Chinese netizens said that, like Snow White, the image of the mermaid princess in Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales has long been rooted in their hearts, and it takes a leap of imagination to accept the new cast, unquote. In this terrible environment, with Disney stock well below $100 a share, dipping at times even below $90 a share, Disney is particularly vulnerable now, just when things are about to get worse. At this point, I must state that what I'm about to tell you is information provided to me by a walk-in source claiming to have knowledge of the situation at Disney, but since I cannot personally verify this information, I am presenting it as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. Additionally, I must say that whenever anything comes from a walk-in source, in other words, a source that contacts me out of the blue and isn't vetted by my Hollywood spies, I am always extra cautious about the information because you can't know the true motives of the source, and what they're telling you may be disinformation. But that said, the source who first warned me that they were planning to kill Indiana Jones back in time, erase him from history, and replace him with Fleabag was a walk-in source. So while there's every chance this information is accurate, do take it with an extra teaspoonful of salt. Well, buckle up, people. Here is what this source told me. Quote, "Longtime subscriber, first-time writer here. While I'm not technically a Hollywood spy, and I didn't obtain this information myself, I have something you will definitely want to know, courtesy of a friend of mine who shall remain unnamed, who is a major shareholder in Disney and or companies adjacent to it. This is not yet public news. Hulu, as you may know, was originally a joint venture started between Comcast, Fox, and Disney. Part of the original agreement was for each party to fund their share of it. Well, Comcast has just stopped funding Hulu, and with Disney's recent acquisition of Fox, their share of the burden for funding it increased. Hulu's current worth is $27 to $70 billion. Under the original contract, Comcast has the right to demand payment for their share of it. There are no conditions under which Disney can refuse that payment. That check is due in early 2024 as soon as the net worth is laid out more concretely."
Now wait a minute. That figure seems kind of high, doesn't it? Whoever said Hulu was worth $70 billion?
The Wall Street Journal said it back in 2021, according to Yahoo Finance. Quote, "According to the Wall Street Journal, NBC Universal executives estimated Hulu's valuation to be more than $70 billion in 2021, the height of the streaming boom, while Disney's valuation has been tens of billions of dollars lower. This is a point of contention, obviously, between Comcast and Disney, with Disney wanting Hulu's value to be way lower. Why? So that buying out Comcast won't destroy Disney. My source continues, quote, "Current estimates put the worth of Disney's share in Hulu between $9 and $27 billion. Considering that right now Disney Plus is doing about as swimmingly as Halle Bailey was in the early shootings of their recent act of cultural vandalism they call The Little Mermaid, this puts them in what may well be the tightest spot they've been in since their founding. Yes, even worse off than they were before Eisner took over and began the Disney Renaissance. Between the abysmally low park attendance rates that they're not expecting a summer spike to offset, so many of their films flopping like the slices of bologna they are, and their pusillanimous PR battles with Ron DeSantis, they, like Joe Exotic, may never financially recover from this. Disney has to pay Comcast. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All that's up for debate is how much they have to pay and when it's due. Considering that the Walt Disney Corporation currently has, at best, $200 million in liquid assets, they're going to have to lay off even more people and sell even more shit. Not just their Paris and Shanghai parks. They might even have to sell one of their U.S. parks in part or in full, along with God knows how many other things. Think the world's biggest and kitschiest garage sale, just to cover what they owe to Comcast. In addition, they also have to pay their ever-increasing operating costs, including but not limited to park utilities, employees' salaries, etc. They will have to cancel a ton of projects. They will have to lay off even more employees. They will have to sell both physical and intellectual properties, most likely including Lucasfilm. Their executives will all lose their bonuses. While the future is never certain, this has the potential to destroy Disney completely. And there's no reason to believe Comcast isn't aware of this. That's all the information I have at the moment, but feel free to reply if you have any further questions. Staying angry. Unquote.
Sheer fucking destruction. Damn! I had no idea this Comcast Hulu situation was so bad. How could Disney only have $200 million worth of operating capital? That seems crazy.
Our own Mexican Iron Man, who is an accountant, did the calculations himself on Pop Culture Breakdown using Disney's own publicly available financials, Harvey Cthulhu. Taking their assets versus their debt load, they were only $200 million by his calculations in the black, and that isn't even enough for one movie budget. Looks like Little Mermaid isn't going to save them after all, and unless they completely re-edit Indy 5 to make it somehow magically suck less than it did at Cannes, it's looking grim for the Grim Squeaker. You can only borrow money for so long before the shit hits the fan, folks, and it's brown splatter time at Cinderella's castle, if this source is correct. But again, it is a walk-in source, so I remind you once more, take it with a teaspoon of salt. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.